Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Myles Biggs. On this podcast, we are driven by truth, sometimes the hard truth. We believe it's imperative to be relentless for results because if you're not, your competitor is. We're obsessed with how to be better every day because that's what our customers deserve. And if you can set aside your ego, if you can truly be no ego, then we're the show to help you go all in because good enough isn't. Today, I'm here with Patrick Patterson, CEO, and Howard Diamond, CRO of Level Agency. Gentlemen, how are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing.
Doing great. Sunny day here in Pittsburgh. Thank you.
Yeah.
How could we not be?
It is.
It's been a crazy week and a half.
It's been 2 weeks within a week and a half.
I think this week has been a long month. I think.
Yeah, right.
That's how
That's
that
a good
works.
way to put it. So if we're talking about AI news, we have to kick things off with GPT-5.
I mean, there's no way we should talk about anything else first.
Let's do it. So the headline is not from any official news source. It's from me saying, hey, it's here. And it was this lovely open up ChatGPT and it arrived and I tested it immediately. So I have my thoughts, but I'm curious, either of you, what do you think?
Oh, I have a point of view.
Surprised. I'm so surprised.
Is that your surprise
I'm
face?
so surprised.
All right, so here's my point of view. And it took me, I wanted to give it a few days before I solidified it. I was a ChatGPT power user, right?
You're hinting was.
Okay.
I think I know where we're going.
And I knew, okay, this is when I needed to use O3. This is when I used O3 Pro. This is when I used 4.5. This is when I used 4.1. This is when I used 4.0. If you don't know what any of that means, you're not a power user of ChatGPT, and that's fine. Right? But each one had, if you used it enough, you got to understand exactly what it was good at. And then you, depending on your task, could then select which one you should use. ChatGPT-5 comes, and I will tell you, I was hyped, right? Super hyped.
Yeah.
You don't have Sam Altman saying AGI this and, end of the humanity that, and then not have something amazing come out. So I was super hyped, super high expectations. And then I use it, greatly disappointed. And I was like, okay, that's just because I had high expectations. Like I had built it up to be something that it's not going to be. So it's like, let me give it hours and hours and hours and hours and let me see what I think of it. So here's where I'm at. It is better. Okay. Like for 95, 96, 97% of the population, it was the smartest thing they could have done. No more having to select your model. That's phenomenal. It just infers what you want. And that's what 97% of their searches or their queries probably are, right? Just like someone who wants to know who won the Super Bowl in 1978 and who was the quarterback at that time and what are they doing now, right? Like, I don't know. That's probably how many piano movers are there in New York or whatever it is. But if it was part of your workflow and was embedded to what you did, and I use it hundreds of times a day, it was a complete step back for me because now it's like, oh, well, I don't need reasoning for this. And I know I don't. Stop going into reasoning mode, right? Or I want a quick answer. I don't need you to reason. And man, I was like looking for a quick answer this one time. I was on a phone call. I was like, I just need a quick answer. And I know like 4.0 would have given me a quick answer. And ChatGPT-5 thought for 2.5 minutes. No, stop. And so I know there's now you can hit the quick answer. And Altman actually, I think 16 hours ago, now has an a fast and a thinking mode in GPT-5. And if you're a paid subscriber, you can go back and you can select all the models and you can go do. So they rolled it all back and they did all of those things and all of that is really great. So I think they've responded well to the backlash. They've given the tools to the power users, which is great. But overall, I can say I don't think it hit the hype that they were trying to. It felt like they were trying to say this is going to be revolutionary. This is going to change the world. Nothing will ever be the same post this launch. And it's kind of just more of the same and a little bit better, right?
It's like the new Coke.
Yeah.
of AI, right?
Right?
They ended up rolling it back.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, no, that's exactly what it is. It's like we all expected this big iPhone moment, and like,
I thought it was interesting they rolled it out so quickly after agent mode came out. Like it was like, there was
are
like
you finding value in
back to
agent
back.
mode?
Not, I mean, I think there's some interesting things. I haven't successfully had it really like complete a thing start to finish for me.
Literally everyone I asked, that's their response.
But-
like agent mode. Yeah,
but-
no, agent mode's really cool. Yeah, no, it hasn't done anything for me yet, but it's really
I
cool.
just found it interesting because like I'm starting my desktop and it'll do stuff and you can like you get some insight into how it's thinking. And I've even then said like so I've set it up with a panel. I have like working on a presentation, act like a CEO, COO, all these people, and debate this topic for me, and then arrive at like the best solution. And it does it, but I could watch the debate.
Yeah,
which was interesting.
It's a parlor trick, in my opinion.
And it was just like cool. And then I was like, is the output good though? And then I'm still doing the same stuff, whether it's agent mode or not. So
yeah,
it's
no,
like,
to me, it is an amazing parlor trick where it's like I get to watch it move the mouse, or I get to
Right.
watch it interact.
Now I'm searching.
Like that's cool. And so like I find myself like it rolled out, I got access to it early, and I was using it, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go over to O3 and like do the same query, and it's gonna be faster, better, and the like why am I sitting here watching a browser for no reason?
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, so what are some uses of it? Okay, so ChatGPT without the connector can't connect to like HubSpot, right? So like maybe let's log in, tell it to log into HubSpot. You can take control. You can put your credentials in, and then it can go behind a paywall like that, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good use, I think, when you don't have an MCP, you don't have a connector, you don't have something like that, to be able to get behind a login and then have it take action on your behalf. And then I have found it kind of chaining instructions together pretty well, like do one thing and then another and then another. It acts, and I think ChatGPT-5 is better at that too, where it's just like it feels more like I'm interacting with a human.
I feel that about 5, where it's like it doesn't just spit out some half-baked thing after one prompt for me. It's like, okay, I did this. I could do the following things. Which would you like me to do? Or I'm ready for that when you want it. What else do you want to say? And then
Not as warm of a human, but a human.
But that fits me. Like I'm very direct, so it's like I don't need all the warmth personally. So like that hasn't bothered me.
Yeah. How about you, Howard? What do you think?
Yeah, I've been using it a lot for creative iteration. Still trying to figure out if it's different or not. I'm feeling like the output is a little bit different, not maybe getting to what I'm looking for as fast. I was just going to make a funny comment on the warmth. Perhaps the amount of money it costs to say hi is something that is so high, all the electricity costs and computing costs.
We've wasted
trying to shut that
millions
down.
We've wasted millions of dollars.
Yeah. So they're trying to shut down the warmth, to save money. But yeah, I think the jury's
And
still out.
sorry and thanks.
That's right.
And like
we don't need all that.
No.
Yeah, we just want to cut to the chase. So, I think the jury's out, but so far not seeing the same level of articulation for creative and copywriting. So that's something I'm keeping an eye on. Yeah.
So something to watch. We'll see how 5 evolves. Like you said, if they're rolling back, maybe they'll iterate like they do. And
dude, I mean, I think it's really good. I think, I have, since it's been rolled out, I can say I have been using it a little bit less than I was before it was announced. And I'm using Gemini more. I'm using Grok more. I'm using Claude more. So these other LLMs, like I think you're going to start to see they're very good. Like they're very, very good. And I think you're going to see some people adopting things like Gemini and Grok. Yeah.
Are you using any of the tools, like middleware tools that run multiple LLMs at the same time, comparing answers?
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah. So I used a tool called Chorus. It's an app on Mac, and I think it's chorus.sh, and it allows you to run against all of them at the same exact time. The other cool thing, so like you can run the exact same query across, I think it was 37 or something different LLM models. But then the other thing you can do is you can pick one model and then have the other models sit on the sideline and critique it.
That's pretty cool.
It was kind of neat.
Gallery.
Right. It was, so you would do a query or whatever to Gemini, and ChatGPT would be over there. It was like, I don't know if I agree with that. And it would tell you why. And then you could actually click in to the ChatGPT one, and it would then do that, or you could improve the output, which was really cool. So it's like, okay, so this was what Gemini said. ChatGPT's like, that's a pretty good answer, but you might want to consider adding this, and then you'd say, go ahead and do that, and then it would improve your answer. So it's pretty cool. Like,
that is cool.
Yeah,
That's interesting. Well, you said Grok, and so let's get to the next headline, which is Grok and what they're doing with ads. They're going to start monetizing the LLMs.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got an article about Grok here.
Oh, yeah.
X has decided to insert ads directly into Grok's AI conversational responses. So instead of selling ad slots, it's going to bake advertising directly into the content itself.
What could go wrong?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm going to be really fascinated. I mean, we knew this was going to come.
Yes,
right.
absolutely.
This is coming, and X% of Google's revenue is all driven by ads. They're not going to just shut it down overnight, right? So this is coming.
That's right.
And so but I'm going to be like, as a media buyer, like, what's the platform going to look like? What's the bidding engine going to look like? I'm super excited about it, right? Because like we're going to, I believe everything that's old is new again. All of this has happened before. It will all happen again. We're going to go back contextual targeting, right? It's all going to have to be contextual targeting. I mean, there's going to be all the other stuff. It's psychographic, but like, it's going to go back to contextual. It's super, it's going to be, but then you layer on this layer of AI on top of the targeting. And it's going to be a super exciting time to be a media buyer.
Absolutely. I agree that what's old is new again. When, search engines first came out and you had pay to play and people were like, what is this? I'm never going to do this. And, right. and now we're moving from search engines to AI, and it's fascinating for sure.
I just can't wait to see it because I'm trying to visualize it. Like, if it's not going to be an ad separate from the content, it's woven into the content itself, how do you know then what is the ad and what is the actual thing you were looking for?
Well, and then, what are the unintended consequences of this happening? So, right. So you are, okay. I don't know if you guys do this, but there have been 3 or 4 times just like today where I was going to Google something. I was like, why am I Googling this? I'm going to go to ChatGPT, right? And like that literally happened 4 or 5 times today. So multiply that by the entire world, right? Yes. And that's where we're at. But then you start to dissect, what is the reason for that? Like, why am I doing this? Because I'm going to trust that result. I'm going to trust that I'm going to get a better result, right? Because it's bringing me value. But like, it's about bringing value while building trust, right?
Yeah.
And so like, when you start to influence the outcomes of that through advertising, are users going to A, still get the same amount of value, and B, still have the 100%. Same amount of trust?
I mean, you have to look at the Google, or Microsoft or any of the search engines out there. They are tuned for revenue. I mean, that is the experience that has been created. And perhaps earlier on, it was not, obviously, when these companies started. And now you look at ChatGPT and the other LLMs out there, they are tuned to deliver these contextual results. And now if you change them, undoubtedly, you are going to have something very different.
Right. Yeah. And like, am I going to have that same moment? Or am I going to go, I rolled GPT OSS this week on my MacBook Pro. I have a local LLM now, right? On a MacBook Pro, I'm running a large language model.
Wild.
Am I the only one who's like, holy cow, what a time to be alive, it's 2025. That's crazy. But anyway, but like, am I now going to be like, okay, maybe I don't want to use an online LLM that has privacy issues and all of these things. I'm going to use local models. And then there's going to be a local versus online. And like, it's going to...
premium versus ads. I mean, just like the streaming model.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be interesting to see. So they're the first to do it there's in the headlines, but how will the others respond? Will they follow? Will it be the exact same, or will they choose to differentiate and say, we don't do it their way, we're going to do it our way? Like it'll just be interesting to watch.
I don't know much, but I'm pretty sure that Elon Musk is going to do it his way.
Yeah,
right?
I think you're right there.
So he's got his way, and then there will be a different way that other people do it. I don't know which one will be right or wrong, but man, Grok. So I'm a Grok super heavy. I pay the $300 a month for the crazy Grok, right? Imagine. Is their new image generation tool? Have either of you played with it?
No.
So you can talk to it in real time, as you're talking to it, it's getting you more and more images, right? So you can be like, hey, show me a picture of the Tetons at sunset. I want it positioned by Jenny Lake.
So you're like vibe coding, but it's like visual.
Dude. Yeah. And it's fast, right? Like so fast. Like when it came out, I hit my image cap like within, I probably played with it for an hour, but like about an hour, it's like, we can't generate any more images for you. Cause I had probably generated, and this is probably no joke, in that hour, thousands of images.
Wow.
Right. And so like you take that in comparison to what ChatGPT or Gemini is doing with image creation. Now I will tell you, in my projects where I'm like, I need a good image, I am actually leaning towards Gemini these days. Really, really good image generation. And then when I need it to be more complex, I'm going to ChatGPT. And then when I want it to be fast, maybe more throwaway and like more like
get you started.
Fast iterations.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it's like in a text
Creative
message,
ideas.
like no one, like, it's ethereal, like no one cares. Right. It's like, and so just like whatever, then I'm going to Grok. And, but then, and this is like, if you guys saw the headlines, Imagine mode, you can create videos. So any image you have, you can then go in and you can click create video. And there's a normal mode, there's a fun mode, and there's a spicy mode. All right. And like legit, it's not safe for work, right? And so like you go in and they launched this with no age controls. And they launched this, and then you can go into spicy mode, and it creates a not safe for work video. And I was like, what is this? I didn't even, this is before the headlines came out. I clicked, I was like, oh, that's not something we should be doing, right? And then I think it was a few hours later they instituted an update to the app, which is awesome, right? Like they did respond quick, but it's wild how fast that iteration is happening. And but I will say it's Grok has, and Grok Heavy, Grok Super Heavy have entered my workflow because of how fast they are, the quality of the output, the access to X data. And if you're not paying attention to the APIs in this world, you're not really understanding what's going on.
Right, the data sources that are feeding the LLMs.
Correct, right? So before all the ChatGPT launched, the first thing like Elon Musk did, it was like, oh crap, they're just scraping all of our data. We're going to increase the usage, the charges for our APIs. Yep. Reddit did the same thing, which is why my favorite Reddit app on my phone shut down, because they increased the usage.
We were seeing it. I got an email from QuickBooks. Same thing. They're instituting a fee for API pulls there, so everybody's starting to do it.
Right. So, but you go to Grok, it has access to all X data. Awesome. Okay, then I can if I want something real time, I want something about now, like sentiment about what's happening now. Am I going anywhere other than Grok? I would be crazy. Yeah. Sorry, I took us in a little digression there. But so talk about Grok. I'm going to start.
We'll come back since you're the super heavy, right? You can tell us when you see the ads.
I'm mostly using Grok as the fact checking, reporter in these Twitter conversations. That's interesting. X rather, sorry, but it's interesting to hear the AI capabilities.
And this whole thing with X. So we decreased the name from Twitter to X to save, presumably to save time.
But now you have to say X formerly Twitter.
Formerly Twitter, right? So now it's more letters. Now it's more characters, right?
Yeah, and there's a whole generation that would never say anything other than tweet. It's just like correct. You can't stop it.
Yeah.
But speaking of, like Beetlejuice, you said Google like 3 times earlier in that. So the next headline's about Google.
They've entered the conversation.
They're here, but interesting. So if you've been following along, Google has been hit with this antitrust suit that they have a legal monopoly on the search game, and we're pending the judge's decision on the recommendation for how that should be broken up. But Perplexity has made a $34.5 billion bid to purchase Google Chrome from Google. And if successful, they could reimagine the browser as an AI-first interface, making AI the default way to search, shop, and consume content.
Well, it's great branding for Perplexity to get in the news. I mean, for starters, right?
Yeah, we'll take it.
We'll buy Google. We'll buy Chrome.
I think Level will buy Chrome for
$35 billion.
34.0001. Yeah. So No, I think the AI browser wars are about to begin, right? Like, and you know, there have been, when you think about the browse, you know, the web browser, it hasn't really changed. The underlying part of it, really, like what, in like 20 years, like Netscape, right? Like it still feels like Netscape, and Mozilla and Firefox.
I think the biggest change was when Google got rid of all the crap off the home screen, and it was just then.
Well, I mean,
that's not
even the browser.
Yep.
And
And
that's
then
not even the browser.
That's
That's
just
just Google, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the web pages have changed.
Yes.
Think about like just the browser, right?
the user experience is very much the same. I think on the back end, you have some of the cookies and tracking and things like that, which, you know, if you're a
and how you want to store
iOS
your
versus,
bookmarks.
yeah.
and,
So I
you
think
know.
that's changed, but I think those are more nuanced. The average user
Yeah.
may not even be aware of
No,
some
you're
of
right.
those
So,
things
so
happening.
are you guys familiar with the Arc browser?
No.
All right. So Arc came out and was like, we're going to read. Literally, his argument was the browser hasn't changed since the Stone Age or whatever, you know, whatever his argument was. And he's like, I'm going to reinvent the browser. And they actually they created an amazing browser. Like I actually switched
Wow. Okay.
from Chrome, right? And it was phenomenal. So you would organize all of your work kind of in a space, and then you had AI, and it was all built in, and it was kind of this different way to work. And then they shut it down. It was like, I can't make any money from a browser, which is like super frustrating.
Yeah.
So I wonder, you know, okay, so like, I don't think Chrome is around so that Google can make money, right? No. And so like, what is Perplexity going to do with Chrome at this point? And will it turn the way of another Arc browser where it just be like, we don't know how to make money from this?
Well, I mean, the embedded AI functionality, they want to embed their AI. So you're reading an article, you're doing whatever, and hey, Perplexity, tell me about this. I mean,
route traffic
you
to
know,
their website where they can sell ads and make money.
Can I ask about Perplexity for a second? Like I loved Perplexity. I'm a Perplexity Pro user, Perplexity Pro. That's hard to say. User, and you know, they have their own models. You don't have to use their models. I typically didn't use their models. I used the other models when you could sign in and use it. But like then search came into every LLM, and I can now it all accesses search, and like my usage of Perplexity went from, I don't know, an hour to a day to almost nothing. And so I'm interested in like, and I don't know if you guys have a point of view on it or not, but like, what is the benefit right now of Perplexity over just a power user in ChatGPT and Gemini?
Yeah, I can tell you because reflecting, I don't go. I used to go a little bit, but now it's just like in ChatGPT, it's like search the web and do this, and then agent mode do this, and then you just build on it, and you don't have to go to 5 different places.
Yeah,
I think for the average user, it's also, you know, if you have a good user experience and it's connected to good data sources and it connects to one or multiple LLMs, do you care which tool you're using if you get comfortable with one? And I think that for the average user, I mean, we have obviously some power users sitting around the table here. So I think that's an interesting thing to think about, is how is the average consumer, or perhaps the average, business executive going to be bouncing around to these different technologies?
Well, so I wonder what the play is here, right? So if they buy Chrome, are they also buying all of your search history within Chrome?
No. I mean,
because then
probably going forward,
because
yes.
then they get that's the data for their Perplexity usage would also have like we know what.
I mean,
you're
I would
searching
love
for.
that. I would,
and then it's more tailored to you, and you come back to it.
What if my dad, and I tell this story a lot. My dad used to like be grocery stores. All right,
Okay.
When they introduced the card, the Advantage card or the savings card,
Okay.
you had to scan. He said to me, "It's like I don't want them tracking what I am buying at the grocery store. It's like I don't want them knowing that. It's like a privacy thing, right?" I mean, my thought was like, who cares how much
So you
milk?
get a coupon for that thing
like,
you buy
well,
all
no,
the time.
my first reaction was like, really, Dad? No one cares how much milk you buy, right? Like
That's right.
Like no one cares. Literally, no one cares. But then they start giving you coupons, and now those coupons are targeted towards the things that you want, or maybe you're out of, or maybe you forgot that you wanted. And so, what does it do? It adds value to your life, and therefore, I'm willing to give up that piece of my privacy to be a part of that, to get that value.
Yeah.
So, similar thing here. I literally just described all AI to you, by the way.
Absolutely.
The more data you put into it, the more privacy you're willing to give up, the more value you're going to get out of it. But you have to be willing to make that value in exchange. But like, take my entire browsing history. I mean, I have nothing to hide in my browsing history. Take my entire browsing history and suggest the next thing I should be like.
Yeah. What do I need to know? What am I looking for?
Absolutely. That'd be phenomenal. Do that. I mean, if that's what they want to do, man, buy Chrome tomorrow. I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting.
But like, I just don't understand. Like, I don't understand how they're going to make money. They have apparently 20 million active users on Perplexity right now, up from 15 million a few months ago, like 159 million, 200 million monthly visits, like or searches or whatever. It's just I don't. A lot of people are moving over to it's like it's these AI tools that are getting millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, and then I ask the 300 CEOs that I'm connected with, do you know anyone who's using this? And they're all like, no. I'm like, who's using all this stuff?
That's right. I think there's a race. I mean, we've seen this movie before. There's, AI is the hot technology. AI is the hot technology right now, and you're going to see a lot of companies spun up, and there'll be consolidation ultimately, or like we talked about earlier, or some of these companies will not make it. They'll be sort of the value won't be there. I think it's going to be very interesting.
What another interesting note here is like saying how would they make money? Perplexity's own valuation, according to the Wall Street Journal, is $18 billion, and they offered $34.5 billion for Google Chrome.
Well, hence the comment about a great press release.
Well, and they've secured investors, including some large venture capital funds, to back the deal in full. So it's like, is it even real, or is it just getting in the headlines because these other investors are positioning for something else, and this is the distraction for what's actually happening? Who knows?
Yeah,
I'll take my conspiracy hat off.
No, I mean, it's interesting. I know I went on a rant on Perplexity, and I don't know if that's the full story here. I mean, we're talking about Google, but like, it's an interesting problem with Google. Like, you create a product that's so good that you're the only one that can really deliver
and now
it,
you're
right?
in trouble for
you
it.
create a moat, you make it difficult. Now the question is, did they buy the other browser, the other search engines that could have been competitors, and did they fold them in, and did they shut them down, and all of this fun things? Those are other questions, but like I don't know exactly like how I feel. Like, I mean, kudos. I mean, you played the capital, you played capitalism, and you won, right?
You got Boardwalk and Park Place on the board. You
correct.
Did it.
Yeah.
You
like,
did it.
why are like we're mad about it? But I get it. Like I get like then they could start if what is their ethos is don't be evil. Is that their? I think isn't that their like founding principle? Here, I'm going to Google it. ChatGPT.
Why don't you Perplexity it?
Don't be evil. I think they removed it, but so the phrase "don't be evil" was their unofficial motto as part of their code of conduct when they
Alphabet replaced it with do the right thing.
Do the right thing. Yeah. So
for shareholders.
Interesting, right? So, but I think like, don't be evil, do the right thing. Like, hey, like, don't price gouge, don't do those types of things. And I think some of their models actually prevent, an auction-based model sometimes prevents them from being able to do that. But, I don't know. It's it will be interesting. I think with what we were just talking about before, with ads going into the LLMs and the race towards the LLMs, and what the whole landscape's going to look different in 2 to 3 years. So, for me, I don't know how I feel right now about trying to break it up or saying they're not doing what they should be doing.
Yeah. Well, speaking of ads, let's go to the next behemoth company in the headlines. We've got Meta.
Never heard of them.
Yeah, my little company, started in a dorm room, I think. But so there's all the news about how they're spending billions, $72+ billion on their AI infrastructure. But they announced that their plan is that their ad creation suite will allow you to generate full campaigns, creative assets, copy, video, targeting, performance optimizations, all of it with AI, only based on your budget and your goal.
I mean, this is the dream, right? Like, this is nothing new, and people are going to think I'm crazy when I say this, right? So like, it was, God, when was that? was before it was before COVID, right? So this was like 2019. I sat down with the head of product of Lyft. Okay. He had 40 data scientists and 40 data engineers working for him. And I assume project managers, because someone's got to
tell him what to do.
Interface. Yeah. And so he had a team of 80. And I was talking to him about his marketing campaigns. I was like, what do you do? He's like, well, I input a goal into this black box, and it goes and it creates the ads. It creates the campaigns, it tests it, it optimizes it, it does everything I need. It will optimize by geo. You think about Lyft, right? Like what they're doing, like it's individual one-to-one personalization.
Where they are on the map right now.
Exactly, right? So he's like, we needed to push this. We could just tell the machine to do this. This was 2019. This is 6 years ago, right? This has been the dream of AI since the beginning. Like we've been using AI at level for 15 frickin' years, right? We've been doing the John Henry man versus machine, media buyer versus algorithm.
Yeah.
Since the algorithm was invented, right? So like, this is nothing new. The goal should be like I love the ability for this awesome restaurant that sits right next to me to be able to go on to Meta and get a really good campaign out.
And I think part of this is it disrupts the status quo, especially when you look at some of the larger advertisers out there that have large creative budgets, big brand agencies, big creative agencies, and this is really a moment where those companies are threatened.
Yeah.
But I think to your point, if you're a restaurant, a small business owner, creative in many cases was a barrier to being able to run
or
campaigns.
campaign setup, but
That's
period, right? Like you're really good at making pizza. You're probably not great at going and hitting the buttons on the Google ad account.
Like, what does
right?
cost per acquisition mean?
Yeah, like nor should you be, right? Like so like I'm totally. I think it is a great leveler, to your point, right? That is not a pun intended.
Right. Levels the playing field. Yep.
It levels the playing field.
Yep.
And
if you're a certain size company, I think it's a huge value. And I think there will be companies out there that still want to retain some level of control, human interaction, whatnot. And who knows yet how far along they'll take that and what levers there will be for brands, for agencies to pull. But to your point, this is where the market's been heading. They're not the first people to have some sort of creative suite attached to their ad model. And you're going to see different types of, marketers, latch onto this. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think it opens up the work. It gives really smart marketers time to be really smart.
Yep.
Right.
If you look at
that's exciting.
Yeah. If you look at CTV, I think it's another sort of corollary. There are a lot of brands who couldn't get into the CTV game fast enough because of the expense and time it took to produce advertising. So I think this is smart on Meta's point, and I think we'll see how much this will disrupt the status quo of sort of big agency creative. Will it be more of an SMB play? But either way, I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, and I think that just becomes the new baseline. And then why would you hire us? Why would you hire an agency on top of that? Because we're going to do better than the baseline. Right. Or don't hire us.
Well, not only that, I think if you look at the platforms and, we'll put our agency marketing hat on, there's this orchestration across platforms, right? I mean, it's like there are still these ideas of walled gardens. Everyone's heard that term before. So there is still value in having a strategy for your entire brand across platforms, for your measurement, for incrementality, all those things. So, but yes, I think if you're focused on Meta, super interesting, excited to see it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, however, if Meta is your only solution, if all you have is a Meta hammer, everything's going to look like a Meta nail.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's right. But
and that's the thing. If every campaign is built by Meta, is every kind of campaign going to be a Meta campaign? And it's just the new baseline. And to differentiate, you have to do it differently than everybody else.
Right.
And it's a new cycle begins.
Yeah. And then everything old will be new again.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's the fear, right? You're like, this gets announced.
We'll go back to direct mail.
Stock dips for the public companies.
I'm telling you, Howard's like, I don't know about this, but like, the hot take. And I said this about a year and a half ago. I think I don't know exactly when. It's starting to happen a little bit, but I think mail and getting something in the mail the right way is going to be for maybe people that are 5 or 6 years from now in your market, like those are going to be the people that if you send them something and you're like, oh my God, I got something.
I mean, I could see that there's this,
it's happening.
90s nostalgia is having a huge moment right now. So why not?
Like I got a letter.
Why can't we throw direct mail in there?
Someone hand wrote a letter to me. This must really be meaningful.
Right.
And I'm a little close to this coming from an organization owned by one of the largest direct mail companies in the world. So,
okay.
But I think you're onto something.
Redacted.
I think, for now. So, I don't want to go through their legal claims or whatnot approvals, but I think there is something to the fact that what's old is new again. I've seen my daughter run to the mailbox to get a catalog or an invitation or something like that.
100%.
I think as long as it's targeted, it's smart, it's personalized, those things absolutely can add value. So I think people are too quick to dismiss some of these things. If done correctly, they can be super impactful. So
that could be cool. Imagine with all the data now and how it can be personalized and content's created, if you could have a personalized, like say a magazine where it's like only the stuff in it that you care about sent directly to your house.
Oh, Myles.
Just one-to-one like that.
Oh, Myles. So I don't think I talked about it on one of the previous episodes, but I read articles. I go online. I was really interested in the Pittsburgh food scene. So since I had kids, my wife and we stopped going out to dinner. We used to go out to dinner all the time. We had kids, and now it's like, all right, Eaton Park is, if you're from Pittsburgh, you don't know what Eaton Park is. Everyone else who does, shout out to Eaton Park. And so we go there with our kids all the time. I was like, hey, what are the new restaurants? Where do we go? And I was like, okay, started Googling it. I was like, all right, what am I going to do?
Perplexity.
Now I'm going to go. So then I went to ChatGPT. So here's what I did. I did ChatGPT, deep research. I did Gemini, deep research. I did Claude research. I did Grok research, right? I did all 4. Same prompt. So built a pretty deep prompt and got 4 16-page outputs from each. Actually, Grok's was like, I don't know, 3 pages because it was like, just eat here. But the
sponsored by.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it was the ad was at the top, and so and then I took all of that, I put it all together, and I had it create an article, and then I put that article into 11 Labs, and I got an audio. I made my own personalized podcast.
There you go.
Think about that. Think about what I did. Literally. Like, I wanted to know about a topic. Now I'm going to talk into the microphone. I wanted to know about a topic, right? And I was like, all right, now I'm going to have a personalized podcast for me on the exact topic I wanted.
And whose voice did you choose? Was it your voice or someone else's?
That would be freaky.
Okay.
That would be freaky.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, that would be a little freaky. No, but like, that's where we're going.
Yeah.
I had a chance to see Shelley Palmer speak about a year and a half ago. And we talked about some of these things. We came to our organization, and I actually asked the question. I said, are we going to be at a point where I can come up with a concept for a movie or television show and input it into these solutions and create that media to consume and share?
Yes.
I think at the time this was a year and a half ago. It was, we're not going to have that, and the studios aren't threatened and whatnot. And Shelley, by the way, is brilliant. But I do think, to your exact point, we are now that quickly creating videos, images, podcasts, and you're able to conceptualize this IP, which, by the way, is another separate topic. Is that something that's protectable?
Didn't they create an entire South Park episode on using AI?
I'm sure at this point they have.
It was I believe they did, and I believe it was good. Like literally beginning to end, AI only.
Was it Cartman LLM, or was it like something?
I think it was. It was trained on the 24 seasons or whatever of whatever. But no, I mean we're there.
Yeah,
we're there, right?
It's super interesting. And if I'm putting out content, if I'm a studio, any sort of creative. Obviously, this is impacting many fields, but I think specifically within the field of creative and content production, you have to be wondering how those companies are going to themselves adopt some of these tools and push the models and do cool things, because consumers are going to have a lot of these tools in their own hands.